All right, we are coming to you live. We've got Bears Banter episode 2 lined up, and let's see what we've got that we're looking forward to, and we're going to review actually last night's game as well. So probably should start with that.
Yeah, so we did the pregame, right? And I had a couple keys to the game. It was Bears defensive line gets after Bryce Young, and Bajan doesn't turn the ball over. If they do that, they're going to win. And Bajan didn't turn the ball over, and the defensive line didn't quite get as much pressure as I would have thought or what I would have liked. But I think they did a good job, and they did get 3 sacks on the game. So I really think overall the team played well. And if the defense can continue to improve and we get some of our key players back in Fields and Nate Davis and some of those other guys, then I think over the second half of the season, we might get 3 or 4 more wins here.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Nate
to go
Davis.
off that,
Nate Davis is a pivotal part of the offense, you think? Sorry, I just had that as my thing. I didn't want to cut you off there, Tom, but we're calling Nate Davis a key part of our offense?
I think the running game worked really well, and on Thursday night without him, and Bajan didn't get sacked at all. I think he was under pressure a couple times, but he did a good job maneuvering in the pocket to keep the play alive and either find a receiver downfield or throw the ball out of bounds. But I don't think it hurts to have a veteran like him in the lineup. So maybe we can just continue to improve on those aspects that have been going well when he comes back. That's the hope, right?
Okay. Yeah, no, that's more acceptable of a statement. And yeah, I'll agree with you there for sure. And Tom, you were saying, sorry, before I interjected.
So to go off Jesse's point, I think the Bears defense looked good against a terrible offense. I mean, the Panthers have a bunch of nobodies out there. It's it's kind of hard. Do you know any receivers that are good? But to that point, I mean, Sweat played a little more this week. Saw a little more of him. And I think that I saw a couple more of the big guys, Walker, some other guys move in, whereas they usually play outside the line. And they moved in and kind of stuffed it up a little more where Sweat so he's affecting the run defense for the Bears, and I think I'm excited for it, baby.
Okay, yeah. Luke, any of your key takeaways, first thoughts from the game?
Yeah, I kind of anticipated more of a victory lap from Jesse on this one, as perhaps maybe the one and only viewer of the first episode of this podcast. I had texted him on a side, and he had pointed out that most of his predictions actually came to fruition. So congrats on that.
Lucky.
Having this be my first sort of stop in here, I would say that I'm having a hard time breaking out of this pessimistic sort of mood that I have with this team. But it was somewhat refreshing, as it is anytime we get a win. It's pretty few and far between at the moment. But things that stood out in particular, I think that for me, the big thing was the offense didn't seem as predictable as it does a lot of other times. One thing that I find myself thinking when I watch this team regularly is you just sort of have this gut feeling as to what's coming. And if me, an idiot sitting on my couch who doesn't know jack about anything, can predict every other play, chances are NFL coaches can figure it out too. So with that being said, we've got what would most years be a third string quarterback playing out of the D2 school. Granted, I love the kid. To have the offense moving the ball a little bit against a subpar defense, I think everybody can agree on that. It is refreshing. I agree with Tom's point about Montez Sweat. He looks good. I think for me personally, you see what we gave up in terms of trade capital or draft capital for Montez Sweat. And, we also see that there's a simultaneous trade for Chase Young to the Niners. And we see that the Niners are getting Chase Young for less than what we got Montez Sweat for. So that leaves a bad taste in your mouth right off the bat. But he's 28.
6'6".
I mean, he is a physical presence. He looked great. I don't think he had any sacks in the game, but I think he made an impact. Thing that stood out to me was seeing him kind of chase Bryce Young around a little bit. The guy moves well. Like he can. He's not like a DeMarcus Lawrence or somebody that's not going to be able to chase down these smaller, quicker quarterbacks. He can actually get some pressure on some of these guys when they get outside of the pocket. Granted, didn't get a sack, but that's okay. You can impact the games in other ways other than getting sacks. So those are the big standouts for me. And like I said, refreshing. I'm hoping I've already talked myself into maybe playoffs. We just ran out. We got three. We've got 3 division games coming up here. Lions, Vikings, Lions. So yeah, good point, Tom. That always helps. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm geared up. Like I said, pessimistic, but blindly optimistic at the same time. Can't wait to see what happens.
I mean, with the Montez Sweat, we have 3 hits on the QB though? Like no sacks. You said a couple of times. He didn't quite get home, but he was there and causing an issue. And everybody wants to talk about Bryce Young's height. When that big pocket is collapsing on you and those bodies are a little bit closer, it's a little bit harder to find leverage and get that ball up and out over the top of those guys. So taking some potential passes away from him there, I think, as well as with Chase Young. When I do agree, it was by everybody, it was reviewed as like a bad trade when it first went through. And then kind of the more that you look at it, it's not the worst thing. The fact that we already got the deal done with him, I think that it's very likely that we were in talks with him as to what that deal was going to be even before we went and picked him up. And I think there was a reporter in Chicago that was asking him when he first showed up at Hallis Hall, what's it like to have the great negotiating position that you're in? You've got the Bears bent over a barrel here. And he joked and he acted like he didn't know what the expression was, which was kind of funny to me. But I mean, he did. He absolutely did. But player of that caliber, I think he was probably in talks with Atlanta of what the deal would look like after the year's contract was up. So I think that was probably something that was discussed. And then another thing that I saw with the Chase Young part is apparently he abandoned his assignments pretty often and was kind of trying to go for the big splash plays. Whereas I guess they were a little bit more upset in Washington to see Montez go, and they were less upset to see Young go. So upon further review, hate the trade less now, but that was just kind of some of the things that I was looking at there.
What did we get? What did we have to pay for him? What was the contract?
Second round next year. So it was.
Yeah.
The contract.
4 years. I'm pretty sure it's $105 million all in, and like $72 million guaranteed, something like that.
We got some cap space, though, right?
I do want to touch on a couple things that Tom and Luke have mentioned. So Tom mentioned Sorry, Tom. What'd you say?
Nothing. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Loud.
So Tom had mentioned the Bears run defense and Montez Sweat improving there. I think the Bears run defense all year has been really, really good. And I want to share a couple stats that I think demonstrate that really well. Season to date, Bears rushing first downs versus rushing first downs given up, 81-47. And then if we look at the total first downs for the Bears versus the total first downs given up, we've got 190-187. So we are actually moving the ball in terms of this metric of getting first downs better than the teams that we're playing, and also just straight dominant on the rushing side of the ball, whether it's offensively or defensively. We're creating gaps. I anybody that watches a Bears game can see that the run game is what is most pivotal in our offense, especially since Fields went down, and the defense has just been really stout. The front seven has been great. Montez Sweat is only going to help us out there too, so that is huge. And I forget what Luke mentioned. I'll come back to that if I remember, but there was something I wanted to touch on as well.
What is it why is the running game coming out so much now with Justin Fields out? Is that related, you think? Or was it good before and I just didn't notice? It's like like Luke said, it's unpredictable a little bit and I love it. It's way better than what I've been seeing. The first game, it was a little like that, but that 4-game streak there before Justin went down, I'm like, I don't know.
I think to just touch on that, I think that the situation that the Bears find themselves in currently just sort of necessitates a strong dose of the run. You're playing a very young quarterback who, is kind of getting his feet wet in the NFL. And when you have a team that finds themselves in that situation, I think they're just going to naturally lean on the run.
Yeah.
And I think that it could be beneficial moving forward when Fields comes back, because it gives the team the opportunity to realize that this is something that they can do well. Now, pessimistic side coming out again, the Bears will probably forget this when Fields comes back and stop doing the good things that they do when he's not playing. But I do think that
out there.
it necessitates them the situation necessitates them running the ball more. I think it's very sort of like Midwest mentality to like, you got to run the ball. And it's like everybody loves it when it's working great, and then when you can't run the ball well, you feel really dumb, and you're like, why aren't we throwing the ball at all? But it is, like I said, I think that it is something that maybe they should try to lean on a little bit more. I know that in the current, in the NFL currently, that there's a lot of people analytically that say you shouldn't be running the ball early in downs, and that you should be throwing the ball more often. And I think if you have the team that can succeed that way, go for it, but you have to know your strengths. And I think that, just going off this game alone against Carolina, I think running the ball was a very sort of good way of managing the game, keeping your quarterback from turning the ball over. I know, back to Jesse's point with the pregame notes, like, we are not a team that can afford to be turning the ball over. So got to find a way to prevent that from happening.
Do you think there's a conversation as to the running backs once Herbert and Roschon are both 100%? I mean, is Roschon 100% right now and we're just not seeing him that much?
Yeah, I'll touch on that. I think Roschon is 100% now, and the first couple games I saw a little bit more just kind of killer mentality out of him. I feel like the last few games I haven't seen that as much. And I can't remember if he went down with a concussion. Maybe it's lingering from that. He's being a little bit more cautious, which is fine. He's a young player. I think he's going to be a great player in the future. But right now, we're really benefiting from the depth that we have at running back. If Khalil Herbert goes down and we don't have Deontay Foreman or the rookie Roschon, then I think there would have been a little bit of a drop off there, or a scramble to find somebody and bring him in. But thankfully, Deontay had a great year last year in Carolina, and we got him for a steal. And he's, really paid off for us and stepped up in these games when Herbert's been away and maybe Roschon's not quite himself. So huge depth at the running back position for the Bears, and that's propelling that run game.
Well, look at the comparison versus Carolina. I mean, that is a backfield that is pitiful. I was defending my guy Sanders there last week before the pregame, and I think he had like -2 rushing yards on the ground.
Yeah, I tried to tell you.
Well, and I mean,
they're trash, man.
For me, it's been the Bears though. Like with the Bears not going out and getting people and like placing them around fields, because like like this is a season that we're trying to see what he's got, and like it's like, well, have we really like put him in a position where he can succeed? Like that is a common argument that Bears fans like to make, right? So it's like to look at Carolina and be like, holy shit, like they're not even close over there. Like, and then we've got all the depth in the world at running back, and it's like, wow, well, I mean, did something right.
Yeah, and I also think it speaks to the improvement in some of our offensive linemen. Tevin Jenkins has been huge. And really everybody on the line has stepped up this year and played much better than they did last year. I think we can all agree on that. So, Darnell Wright obviously was a huge draft pick for us this year, and he's played well. And, I think there's still some room for improvement for sure, but the offensive line has done pretty darn well this season.
I will add last thing on the running backs. I think that the current sort of depth chart that we see with the running backs as it is currently with the Bears is kind of what you can anticipate moving forward with the current front office. This is I don't see I see Poles as a guy who is, I don't want to spend too much money in areas that are not vital positions in the NFL anymore. And running back, whether people like it or not, you can't pay those guys anymore and have a successful team. There are certainly exceptions to it, but if you can put together, 2-3 guys that are well-rounded, they can catch the ball, pass, block, and run hard, I think that's what you're going to see a lot of teams doing. It was a big point in the offseason this year where it's like, why can't these guys get paid? It's because when teams do pay running backs, their organization falls apart because they can't pay the players that actually make a difference in these games anymore. And, on the offense and defensive lines, skill positions like wide receiver and, your back end on defense, you have to have these like cornerstone defensive backs now that can shut down these incredible receivers. And if all of your money is tied up in a long-term contract with running backs, your team's going to suck most of the time.
Hot take.
Like I said, there are some exceptions to that. There are some exceptions to that, but I mean, I think Poles seems like the type of guy who he seems to like, comparing to our previous GM and Pace, he does seem to have a little bit more of a new school approach to let's focus on these vital positions. So,
yeah.
Hey, I wanted
commits, bitch ass.
What you drinking on there, bud?
Oh yeah, dude. We're I mean, we can do a sub segment here before we get on to the next week's games. I also want to talk a little bit about the receiving core, but we've got an Easy Street wheat. This is a classic New Belgium or Odell. But it's a wheat beer. We used to do beer mosas, which are terrific with wheat beers. So, yeah, this is always a throwback to taking like a few sips out of a mimosa bottle and then just dumping a beer in there and just carrying it around on a Saturday. It's a big degenerate move of mine.
Double fist 40s,
I guess it's a slightly higher class version of that, right? But like we're talking like a $7 champagne bottle, so I don't want to class it up too much. But yeah, pretty much sidewalk slammer, but a little different take. Delicious beer.
Before we move on to the next segment, Luke brought up the 3 conference games coming up for the Bears: Lions, Vikings, Lions. Okay. How do we think we do? Real quick.
I need David Montgomery to get me 1 touchdown. I have a future, best future on earth.
Nope.
Over under 6.5 touchdowns for David Montgomery. I mean, the guy's not even played half the games. He's at 6 right now. Anyway.
Okay. I'll give you props. I'll give you props on that preseason.
Free money.
That was a good call. But Next 3 games for the Bears: Lions, Vikings, Lions. How do we come out? Luke, you go, or Tom, you go first.
Yeah, we gotta split with the Detroit Lions. It's gonna be difficult.
Did you have a crazy take on the Vikings games when we were talking about this? Where you were saying we lose at home versus the Vikings, and then we win.
The Lions.
Oh, it was the Lions. Okay, sorry.
I'm changing my point here because I want to win 2 against Detroit and Minnesota. Minnesota,
you want to win them all. Yeah, I mean, of course.
Detroit,
what do you think? What do you think? We are going
to Detroit frauds. Is Detroit a bunch of frauds?
I don't think they're as good as we can beat them. We can beat them.
Here first. Tom, Detroit is a bunch of frauds.
Real quick before we move to the next segment.
Come at me, bro.
What's our record?
We're 3-7. We're gonna win 2 out of 3 here, and we are gonna still have a shot at the playoffs if we can do that going into the bye week. And then, who knows what happens.
Okay, one last question before we move to the next person. Does Fields play next week?
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, Borgo, what do you think? Next 3 games, does Fields play?
Fields plays next week. God, I did have a spicy take that I wanted to get out. Okay, so we got Detroit plays. Okay, so so I did have a thought when we were playing Carolina, and it was a close game because I wanted us to win by double digits. That's kind of the parameter as to are we ass or not, and we were still ass as we saw. But
I was thinking to myself, I was like, on the spread, bud.
I thought we would by 7.
Nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with anything. All right. So there was part of me that was thinking in the game, and this is just a loser mentality as curated by the Bears and being a Bears fan. But I was like, damn, Carolina's really, really bad. I think that they're going to have the first pick regardless, whether or not they win this game versus us, they're going to play the other team so poorly that they're still going to, lose out. So part of me was like, if we lose to them, right, and then we further strengthen our individual pick, our Bears pick, which is still projected top 5, right, then could we further our chances of having 2 even higher picks, assuming that Carolina is going to lose out after they beat us, and then assuming that we're probably going to not be great if we lose to Carolina. So I was like, man, we could really, but that's loser mentality big time. I was like,
Carolina's got.
We need to win this game. We need to win this game.
We'll see.
I mean, basically what you're talking about, the best possible outcome of that is that
for 2024,
we or the Panthers, or actually us and the Panthers finish 1 and 2 bottom of the league, right? Because then we get the first and the second pick.
Pretty much.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think we've seen that the Bears are good enough. I do think that there's a chance that Carolina could be.
I mean, it was a big game for them, right? They were trying to win. It's not like they were showing up like a bunch of jokes, they were trying to win that game.
Right. They're not tanking, and maybe, there are a bunch of dynamics that we could go into about why that could be. But I don't think I think the Bears will get a top 10 pick, and the Panthers are going to have a top 3 pick probably. And with that, they'll be able to make do.
Are we going to deal one of those?
Did you pick
no
next 3 games?
So we're splitting home and away with Detroit. I think I asked that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And Minnesota's away.
Minnesota's away. Okay.
I think we win 1 out of those 3 games.
Yeah. All right, Luke, what do you think? Fields, is he going to play next 3 games?
Fields, yes. I think he plays next week, and I think we go 2-1. I think we probably. I think, like we said, I think we lose to Detroit, and Detroit. I think they're a good team. They've got a strong roster now. It's not really something that I think we can kid ourselves about anymore. They're good. They put together a good team. So I don't think we win 2 against them. I do think we should be able to win against Minnesota now. With Cousins gone, even if Jefferson comes back, which I know he's kind of on the verge getting back healthy and playing again. I think even if they have him without Cousins, he's not as dangerous, obviously, as most wide receivers would be without their number one quarterback. So think we get a win in Minnesota. I was at the Minnesota game in Chicago earlier this year. It's kind of like a karmic thing for me. Like that hurt me. That was when Fields got hurt. So they're going to win that one for me. And then I think we managed to pull off a win against Detroit at home. We're healthy at that point. Fields has been back, maybe hopefully, a week or two at that point. And like I said, I'm trying not to be a Debbie Downer here. Like we're going to go 2-1 over the next 3.
All right. I'm going to say Fields is going to play. I hope he does because I have him in my fantasy league that I'm 7-2, and I need him to come back so he can lead me to the playoffs and to the championship. But I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play well. And I think that the Bears are going to win one game over their next 3. And I'm not sure which one, but I think it's either going to be against the Vikings or against Detroit at home.
We need to get a chart of our picks.
I can
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
Good idea,
Put
Tim.
that in the background, Wars. That's perfect right there.
Yeah. So wait, we should do it for the upcoming games so that we could get at least a tally, as well as I guess we can do it for our picks for the Bears. Yeah, let's do it. All right. We got Detroit, Vikings, Detroit. We got Jesse,
And then
Tom, Luke, Ryan.
Is it away this week or home
so
or next week? Whatever.
it's away next week. It's at Ford Field in Detroit next week.
Yes.
So yeah, Luke, I think you got the lineup for the games on Sunday. What's the first one on the docket? What do we got? What are we looking at?
Right. So I believe Indy, New England is in Frankfurt or Berlin or some city
In Deutschland.
Yeah.
Deutschland.
Yeah. So
He's got a minor in German, guys.
Yeah. Don't ask me to. I can listen to it all day, but don't ask me to talk it.
Fair enough.
Talk it like I'll like it.
What I will ask you to do, Tom, is be the first person to make a pick in this game.
Okay.
Current spread is 2 points, and
Tom
Indy
doesn't
is
understand spreads. Just
I can try.
for Tom.
Oh, okay.
2 point spread means the likelihood of it. Just what is it?
That's fine.
What is it again? I swear I know.
Indy is favored in this game -2. So what are your thoughts? Who do you got in this one, Tom?
I think Jonathan Taylor is going to come out and just dominate the New England Patriots. So I'm picking Colts here.
Okay. Tom is on the Colts. Got it.
Wargo?
Although New England is feisty, I don't like it.
Wargo. Yeah, you go, Wargo.
Yeah, this line kind of stinks to me a little bit. I mean, it is New England at home, so the fact that they're getting 2 points is a terrible team, but like 2 points.
It's in Germany.
Right,
Yeah,
it's in
another-
Germany.
another-
Wow.
yeah, but-
Okay.
Plus
But
whatever.
Belichick kind of seems like a Germany guy. So,
For sure.
if there's anybody that gets down with that culture, I'll take Bill.
Yeah.
Did we see the video of him without his
Yes.
shirt on? Okay.
Yeah, he's living his best life.
Yes, he is.
Well, shoot, I didn't see that.
Okay, well,
He's
that
built like a freaking tank. Let's just put it that way.
I just have a problem with that because when I think of a big dude who's built like a tank without his shirt on, I would immediately go to Vladimir Putin riding a horse without a shirt on.
It was similar
The
to that
it's the vision
Alex
that I get.
Jones type situation.
So that's hard to gosh.
It's hard to support.
What is this?
And especially now that I just called that out, it'd be messed up. But you know what?
What's your
Give
heart?
me New England. Give me New England. Everybody wants Indianapolis, not me. Bill's gonna
Yeah,
get
I'm
back
gonna-
on the wagon.
I'm gonna say it's a sloppy game with about 5 turnovers. And I do think that Gardner Minshew and the Colts offense outdoes Mac Jones, who does not inspire any confidence in me whatsoever. I do like Ramondre Stevenson because he's on my fantasy team, and I hope he has a big game. But Colts win by more than 3 and cover, and it's sloppy. Lots of turnovers.
Coward's way out. Coward's way out. So that's the under as well. Then you're going to take. Well, we don't need to do that, but it's implied. Under implied.
I made a pick.
Yeah.
What do you mean coward's way out?
What?
Taking 2
And-
points.
And I had a hot take, 5 turnovers.
I can see that happening.
Mac Jones with all of them, dude.
I will take New England in this game. I just feel like backup quarterback. Granted, it's Gardner Minshew. I love the guy. I wish the Bears would have pursued him at some point or another. I like Belichick against the backup. Traveling is kind of weird, like the more experienced coach oftentimes kind of has like the better travel plans. You've got a first year coach in Indy. It's farther by a few hundred miles. They got to fly across,
More
the
importantly,
Atlantic
what's the
there.
weather like there?
Sure.
I don't
Tom,
know.
you're the weather guy.
I don't understand weather.
Next episode, you'll see.
Next game we have for the 12 o'clock slate for those in the Central Time Zone. 11 o'clock for me and Borgo here out in Mountain Standard. We have San Francisco at Jacksonville. San Francisco is favored -3. Tom, thoughts?
It's hard to pick against the 49ers to lose 4 in a row. That's, all coming off a bye. But I think Trevor Lawrence and ETN are just cooking right now. And I'm gonna say the Jaguars +3. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Do you like them to win or just to cover, or is that too much to ask? We can maybe do another show where we just teach you how to understand strategy.
Yeah, I mean that is needed for sure. But I think Jacksonville is going to win, and that defense is going to stand too. They're the most turnovers, and I think they're creating the most turnovers. Jacksonville in the league. So
Stats.
I think they're going to do it, and I hate to say that against 49ers. And I got McCaffrey and ETN in fantasy going against each other right now. So I just hope it's just a back and forth game. But
yeah,
Point fest.
Jacksonville.
All right. Yes, we've got. What's the spread on it? Sorry, I'm trying to get ahead and write these damn games down.
It is -3.
Gosh, that stinks too. Jacksonville at home.
Tom brought up the point that San Francisco is coming off a bye. Jacksonville is also coming off a bye.
Ooh.
So you got two well-rested teams here.
This is kind of interesting. It's like a get-right game for Brock Purdy because he's been kind of sucking lately, and everybody's like, Brock Purdy sucks, which I don't know if Brock Purdy sucks. Jacksonville's defense is really good.
Gun at your head.
What? San Francisco. Got my head.
Pick. That's what I'm saying.
Jesse?
I like the Jags on the money line. I don't think it's a get-right game for Brock Purdy. You hear a lot of the big sports personalities that talk about football talk about how it takes 10 games to get to know a quarterback, right? We've got enough film on Brock Purdy at this point that I think people are starting to get what he's good at and take that away from him. I think he struggles. I think the Jaguars offense plays well at home in front of a crowd of fans that hates them and doesn't even want them to be in Jacksonville, but they get it done, and Jags win.
I like San Francisco in this. I don't know that they'll cover, but I think that they're just a good team and a good organization. Not that Jacksonville's not. I think that they're definitely heading in the right direction with Peterson and Lawrence and ETN, and their defense is good. But San Francisco's defense, I think when they're playing right, is terrifying. They've had some time to basically had 2 weeks to prep for the game. And I just don't see, like, I see this as a playoff team. Like, if they lose another game, I don't know what their record would be off the top of my head, but that just doesn't feel right to me personally. I see San Francisco contending for NFC Championship. That's the caliber of team that I think they have. So I just don't see it. I think, Tom, you had said this would be 4 games in a row that they've lost. I'm going off vibes here. I don't see that happening. I'm going to take San Francisco. Don't think they'll cover. I think Jacksonville +3 might be a good pick. But like San Francisco to win. Next game on the docket is Houston.
We are going by covering, though, so I'm going to change yours. Just so
okay, that's fine.
I think we're going lines only.
So let me get this straight. Covering is like, is that?
Let's get into this.
So, Tom, if the 49ers are -3, they need to win by 4 for you to win. And the Jaguars, if the Jaguars lose by 2 or 1 or they win, then the Jaguars cover the spread. If
I feel like
the 49ers win by 3, it's what's called a push, and you get your money back.
So it's like middle ground. I feel like most games are separated by more than 3 points, so I feel like that's silly.
Yeah,
you want to change your pick?
No, I think
become a professional gambler and take on Las Vegas with me.
So we got Houston and Cincinnati.
Yes. So next game on the for the noon slate is Houston at Cincinnati. We're looking at Cincinnati as 6-point favorites in this game.
Whew, a lot of
so
points.
Tom, they have to win by 7 in order for that
to win. If they win by 6, it's nothing.
A push.
You get your money back.
Yeah, this is Houston is coming off that emotional victory, right, with CJ Stroud. Is that right?
Yes.
I don't know if it was emotional. He was just dominant, wasn't he? I guess
that's
emotional. That's pretty cool.
It was just an emotional game up and down,
a lot of back and forth. Came down to the last drive. CJ Stroud made a great throw to Tank Dell.
Oh, yes, it was emotional. Sorry.
Yeah, and I was pushing for Baker there. We were driving home from Savannah, and I was like,
oh yeah. He looked so sad on the bench.
I want to keep rooting for Texas here, but I got to go with Joe Burrow. He's rolling with that offense now. I think he's getting healthy. It's kind of hard to pick against them. So I think, Bengals win. If they win by 7, yeah, I would say they're going to win over, more than a touchdown. They need to get that running game going more.
Yeah, that'd be great. As a Dameon Pierce fantasy owner, I'd love to see that run game really get going, but
it's tough.
Wouldn't get your hopes up on that one because they can just sling it all over the place.
Yeah.
He was projected a lot of points this year.
Yeah.
Let down.
Yeah, for Bengals ain't cover the spread.
I've got Ramondre Stevenson. He's like the, younger brother who also doesn't have any points this year. All right. My pick. Also did want to reiterate. So you 3 cowards are all on Jacksonville, and I took San Francisco. That's spread considered.
Luke took San Francisco, right?
I like them to win, but I think Jacksonville got covered.
Good catch, though, Tom. See, you're on it. You're on it like white on rice.
Fat boy, baby.
So I'm gonna go with Cincinnati here. There's a certain gambling personality that placed a very large future on them to win the championship this year. So I think that they might have heard that. There might be some vibes that they're going to ride based on very large bets being placed on them. Showing belief in a team when you put your money behind it. That's so. Yeah, I too believe.
That's what the players are saying. Big money's behind us now, baby.
Well, when you make a big bet, you tell everybody about it. Hence, this gambling personality is.
I did see that. Actually. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I think they probably heard it. So they might ride with him. Joe Burrow. I took some sick Joe Burrow pictures at the wedding with the cigar. Nobody knew what I was talking about, and I was like, "No, I need a torch right now so I can spark this thing."
I saw you over there.
Sick Joe Burrow pictures, and everybody's like, "What do you mean Joe Burrow pictures?" I was like, "I'm not gonna explain it to you, but yeah, vibes. Joe Burrow. He's gonna dominate. Double point victory.
All right. Well, okay.
Double digit.
I don't know. We already talked about what CJ Stroud did last week. Like, are we just going to ignore that?
Say it. Come on.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Houston covers. It's a close game, and I think that CJ Stroud is going to be he's going to be a top 5 quarterback moving forward. Maybe in fantasy, he's got some weapons on offense. And I think Tank Dell coming back and getting healthy, he really can take the top off the defense, and he makes sure that those safeties are going to play deep and then opens it up underneath for some of those other guys like Dalton Schultz. I know Nico Collins is hurt this week, and he's not going to be playing, but Noah Brown had a huge game last week as well. I think it's going to be a shootout, high-scoring game, but I do think that the Texans cover.
Nice Noah Brown shout out. He's like a creative player in Madden. He's just like, who is that guy? Oh, it's Noah Brown. Doesn't play for the Cowboys anymore? Nope. Just on the Texans.
Yeah.
I like Cincinnati. Teams coming off like insane victories like the Texans had last week. I feel like you're just riding an extreme high. And with most extreme highs, there's usually a little bit of a crash afterwards. I think Cincinnati's trending in the right direction, so I'll take them -6.
That's going to be huge for me when all you guys lose and I get a point there.
Yeah.
Next week when we look at this.
Next game is one. It's kind of an exciting game in my opinion. Cleveland at Baltimore, division game. Baltimore's favored -6.5. Tom?
Baltimore's favored?
Yep. 6.5.
These divisional games sometimes can go, I feel like pretty low scoring. It's just a bloodbath. Browns, I don't know. I'm going to pick I think I'm going to go Browns here.
No further explanation. Morgo, what do you got?
Hey, I don't know. Okay, let me go through a little more.
We're due for a couple short ones, Tom. So you're
right.
Yeah.
Browns D.
I'm trying to work them in as
go
well.
Good. Let's
the
go.
Short ones. Sorry, I'm checking some crazy college lines right now. What was the spread on this one?
6.5.
6.5.
Just so everyone there is any live person out there watching this, I was currently winning 6-0.
Yeah.
I teased the over under on that game, which was 27.5 down to 21.5, thinking there's no possible way that this will hit the under. And it's definitely going to. And Iowa is the most pathetic team I've ever seen in my entire life. Even though they're winning.
Great defense.
Yeah. Sorry, Wargo, go ahead.
No, that was the line that I was looking at. Honestly, it was astonishing to me that before the fourth quarter started, the live line was 13.5 points.
Did you take it?
I'm on the under. Bet it all the way down, baby.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm the rat, dude. I take the cheese when I see it. I take it. And yeah, speaking of being an absolute rat, shit. I like Baltimore here. I don't know. They're hard to pick against in the division. I feel like they're just dominant in that division. Cleveland's been playing great defense. There's a lot of, studs on that defense. Great highlight film. Gosh, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but just like doing the between the legs. Miles Garrett doing between the legs. That's just absurd.
It'll be interesting because I feel like Baltimore has been just moving the ball.
I'm going to be on the under on this game, to be honest. 38 points. Yeah.
38.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're gonna make me pick on the spread, Baltimore, I guess. Sure.
I'm gonna go with the Browns here. I think they cover.
Give me the Browns. Sorry, give me the Browns. It's gonna be
I
like
think they
9-3.
I agree. I think it's a low scoring game. Both really, really good defenses going against each other. I think teams that don't see Lamar Jackson as much really struggle against him, but with the Browns having seen him often, I think they understand how he plays the game and how to contain him a little bit better than other teams. There isn't any containing him, but they know how to contain him a little better. So I think the Browns cover 6.5, and it's a low scoring game.
Jesse, you said exactly what I wanted to say. That was my explanation.
I like Baltimore.
Let's
I'll take Baltimore
go.
minus 6.5. I think
How much of that has to do with everybody else being on Cleveland?
Honestly, when it started with Tom, I was like, I was going Baltimore from the beginning. I didn't have anything to do with your guys' picks. I just think that they are. I think like Lamar's playing really well. He's like when he's at his best, he's probably the most dynamic player in the league. Like I think Harbaugh just like has like a mental edge over Stefanski too. One of my best friends, everybody knows Nick, is a Browns fan, and he's mentally tortured by this team week in and week out. I just don't trust him. It's kind of like the Bears for me. I don't really trust this team. Defense is awesome. Myles Garrett's sick. They have guys all over the place that are awesome. But yeah, I like the Ravens in this one. Next game, we have Saints at Minnesota, and the Saints are favored minus 2.5. Thoughts, Tom?
Yeah. So I think the Saints. I don't know. I think they're going to be playing a little better. They have been playing a little better. So I'm gonna pick the Saints on this one.
Sick. Words.
And their defense. Their defense has been hitting it hard. So Saints.
Yeah, I mean, would love to see Minnesota lose. Josh Dobbs get exposed. It's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh golly. 2.5 points. Saints on the road. Taking Minnesota.
Minnesota plus 2.5.
Josh Dobbs, dude. Rocket
I'm
scientist.
gonna go Minnesota as well. I think Josh Dobbs has he's a guy that you put into a locker room and guys just want to play with, and they just want to win with as well. And I think Minnesota has enough weapons around him, better weapons than even he had in Arizona. And I wouldn't be surprised if they end up winning that game, but they're definitely going to cover the spread. Derek Carr has not been playing well at all. Really, if he can start to play a little bit better, then I do like this Saints team, but I don't think it starts this week in Minnesota. Josh Dobbs and the Vikings get it done.
I like the Saints minus 2.5. I think Dobbs came in like he's like Wargo said, rocket scientist. Guy can like come in like with like 4 hours notice and like pick up an entire NFL playbook apparently. Which I mean is incredible. I props to the guy for being able to like do that multiple times in his career. It seems like he's kind of known for now. Like, hey, you need somebody on short notice, just go get this guy. And he just comes in and like he's incredible.
How old is this guy? How old is Dobbs?
I'd probably guess he's probably around our age.
Okay.
How many eyebrows does he have? Over under 1.5.
That's
Sorry,
nice.
Josh. Sorry, Josh.
I like the Saints here. I think what Minnesota did last week, it's kind of like what I was saying with Houston. Like you have a backup come in off, right? You trade for him same week. And I just feel like that kind of runs out a little bit this week with going against the Saints. I agree with Tom. I think they got pretty good defense. So next game on the docket here is we're still on the noon slate. We're just dragging ass through these. We've got Green Bay at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored -3. Tom?
Pittsburgh's favored?
They are, yes.
Yeah, I don't like what Green Bay's doing. I don't like Jordan Love.
Surprise.
Is there Aaron Jones still hurt, Morgo? I know you have him on fantasy.
He's hurt as far as I am looking at it. He's an idiot.
I don't love what I said what they're doing. I don't like their head coach. I don't like what they're doing. So, yeah, I'm not. Who are they playing? Sorry.
Tommy just starts hating on the Packers.
Blinded by hate.
They're playing the Steelers.
The Steelers. So I don't like Kenny Pickett either. I think that's the wrong move in Pittsburgh as well. But I think that Pittsburgh team is
hey, they got Trubisky
loaded with talent. So Pittsburgh and they covered.
Aaron Jones is showing us healthy this week, Tom. I don't know if that sways your decision at all, but it does look like he's going to play.
Gosh, this is a stinker. Tom's on Pitt.
What's the line here? Sorry.
-3. Pittsburgh's favored.
That's absurd. This is going to be another one of those. It's going to be like 9-7. This game sucks.
The game probably won't be good, but I like Pittsburgh -3 here.
Got it. I guess we'll just jump order, go out of order. Fuck it.
Well, honestly, this is like one of those games that unless you're a Steelers,
you're not about to go right now, are you?
You're not. No, I'm just saying this interjection, a commentary. Nobody's going to want to watch this game. Okay.
Correct.
Go ahead, Wargo.
Trash game.
I'm on Green Bay to cover, dude. I think it's going to be 9-7. This game sucks. Green Bay loses, but they cover.
If I had to stay away from one line this week, it'd probably be this one. I'm going to go with the Steelers, though. I'm going to go with the Steelers here.
Steelers.
I don't love Jordan Love. I think that the Packers I think the Packers are still trying to figure out their identity on offense with him at the helm. And
they don't have one with him.
Yeah, and it's just been tough going for them. But, Mike Tomlin, he always gets his players ready for whoever they're going up against. I think that the Steelers win the game. I'm not sure if they cover, but I'm going to take them on the spread.
Yeah. So we've got Tom on record saying that Jordan Love is not the guy, not a leader.
And that's not because I'm a Bears fan. I think
the Lions are frauds.
That's because he's a fan of NASA.
It could be the head coach in Packer Nation, but
the flu.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Bears will probably sign him next year.
Yeah,
Luke?
I'm taking Pittsburgh -3 in this one. Pittsburgh's 5-3 this year. I feel like I just had to look that up. Like that just doesn't seem right that they're 5-3.
With Tomlin,
I don't think that it's Green Bay's year. I said at the beginning of the year when the Bears lost to Green Bay week 1, I was telling people that this totally discredits anything that I say. And like basically until I die, but I was like, Jordan Love kind of looks like Aaron Rodgers. So like basically you guys should all just be going and looking at my picks and just taking the exact opposite of that. But I will take Pittsburgh.
We already paid Wargo's bets, so
yeah. Okay, so next game, we still have not got through the 12 o'clock slate. Just a heads up, we're closing in on 1 hour.
Can we edit? Can we edit shit? Who knows? Oh,
honestly, I can do this all night. Next game we have is Tennessee at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is favored -2.5 in this one. Baker coming off the heartbreak against Houston.
Yeah, I think Baker and his wide receiver core are gonna come through on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Tampa.
That's hot.
Plus,
Tom is just like the most like concise and simple pick, and I love it because like
Oh,
it's not like
yeah.
I disagree with anything that he says. It's just like the receivers, revenge game, Baker, Tampa.
yeah,
All right.
go with my gut always.
No, I think Tampa's defense is going to be hungry to get after Will Levis. He is a fraud. He's not for real. He had his time in the spotlight, and he's going to get crushed this week in Tampa Bay. Also, it's probably getting cold in Tennessee right now. Tampa Bay is probably really hot. I feel like hot weather teams play well in hot weather. Cold weather teams play bad in hot weather.
It's gonna be perfect around the NFL this tomorrow. Other than the South, maybe.
What do you got against the
Yeah,
South?
I am. I'm gonna say the Buccaneers cover here. I agree with Tom. I think Baker plays really well. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin play well. I also think Rashad White does well on the ground. He's had a couple good games here in the last few weeks. And I think they're starting to run the ball more, which is taking a little bit of pressure off Baker, maybe a little bit of play action, get some deep balls down the field to Mike Evans, hit Godwin on some crossing routes, on some outbreaking routes near the sideline. And I think they win. I agree with Wargo. I don't think Will Levis is the real deal, but I do think he's the best option in Tennessee right now. And we have a small sample size, so it's hard to make a judgment call on him. But, I think he still has a lot of mistakes in store for him. And this Buccaneers defense isn't bad. So I think they get after him, make him second-guess himself in the pocket a little bit. And, Buccaneers definitely cover that 2.5.
Will Levis or Drake May?
What's the question? Is there a question about whether or not that was a good move or not?
No, just who's the better quarterback? Like if that's not the guy in Tennessee, and Tennessee gets a high draft pick or trade up to one, you start Drake May over Will Levis.
I don't know how you draft a quarterback. They took Malik Willis the year before Will Levis. Is that right? I don't know how you draft a quarterback 3 years in a row.
Will Levis.
50% of them don't pan out, dude.
I think they're giving Will Levis the time to develop behind Tannehill. I think
he's their guy.
I don't think they've given up on him. No.
Okay.
Will Levis puts mayonnaise in his coffees. That's psycho behavior. So I'm gonna go against that. I have to take this opportunity. It's the first time we've ever been on a podcast. I need to rant here for a moment about Mike Evans. He is
We got time.
the most frustrating person in the NFL, in my opinion. The guy can't play 2 plays in a row. If you have him on your fantasy team, every time you're watching one of their games, praying to God that he gets his one and only catch during the game for a touchdown, it is disgusting because he cannot play more than 2 plays in a row. And I was watching the Michigan Penn State game today. There was this 350-pound kid from Michigan that chased down Penn State running back from behind. He chased him down like 25 yards and caught him from behind. He stayed in for 3 more plays in a row after that. Mike Evans runs a 5-yard hitch and can't stay in the game after. He's
got a bad face. He's got a bad face. And the camera loves him too.
It's a conditioning.
With that being
This
said,
is Johnny Manziel, bro. He wants to go back to those A&M days.
With that being said, I like him this week to score some and I'm going to take Tampa Bay to cover this game.
Let's go.
He does do some crazy catches,
Mike
under
Evans
9 targets.
Out.
What's up?
Way under in terms of targets. But he could have 3 targets and 3 touchdowns.
Gosh.
So we have officially completed our 12 o'clock slate. We are into the twilight hours, and first game here is Detroit at the Los Angeles Chargers, and Detroit is favored -3.
-3. We're gonna reverse order, Tom. I'm gonna go first. You're gonna go last now. -3. Detroit is favored, and this is in LA or no?
Yep, it's in LA,
It's in LA.
Doesn't matter.
which is basically a home game for any other.
Yeah, that
Tyler's
was a
just
stupid
skeeving
question.
right now. If you
I
wonder.
I think that the Chargers cover here. Detroit is really they are a good
Dumb
team.
pick.
They are a good team. But I do think that the Chargers are a good team as well, and I don't think their record reflects as good of a team as they are. I think that their defense is starting to play better, and they give the Detroit offense a little bit of trouble. And Herbert has a great game, and I'm talking like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they cover. They cover against the Lions.
The Herb Show.
Wargo, what are you thinking?
So partial reverse of the order I see. Yeah, Chargers are for real. I mean, I'm more so on the over, but yeah, give me the Chargers laying the points. They cover that shit all day long. What is it? 2.5? 3.5?
3.
3? Oh yeah.
Yep.
Love it even more.
Yeah, Herbert's a dog. Give me the Chargers. And I think Eckler is, when he's healthy, he's tough to stop. Even, Detroit, their defense had some issues in the beginning of the season. I think, are they healthy now? I haven't really, not sure for sure how healthy they are, but I think that Eckler is going to run against them and open up some opportunities for Herbert.
Yeah.
Don't they have a hot guy? The Lions, they have a hot guy, right? Like a long,
the long-haired
Yeah.
hot guy. Yeah,
on their defense.
Anzalone.
Linebacker, right?
he's a freak.
Yep.
Well, they'll have to control him. If they wanna
Who do we like more, Anzalone or Van Ginkel?
I don't think I've ever actually
Sick
seen
man.
Van
Cowboys?
Ginkel's face.
True.
He's plays for the Dolphins. I believe.
Oh,
But
Who's
they're
the guy that
very
wrote that neck
like,
thing?
they're kind of like the same person.
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So
Get him, Rue.
Rutabaga. I'm gonna go with the Lions here, -3.
Love it.
SoCal kid, Jared Goff coming back to Cali. I think Brandon Staley gets fired this week. Kellen
should.
Moore takes over,
He should.
and
What?
He
Brandon Staley gets fired?
He should.
That's
Yeah,
a
I
hot
mean-
take. Here we go. Now,
I mean,
I'm writing some hot takes down.
he's been flirting with this for a while. I don't think it's that hot of a take. They're
they're going to lose to one of the best teams in the league, and he's going to get fired. That's the straw that breaks camel's back. That if that's not a hot take, I don't know what is.
I didn't realize they were 4-4. He might have a little more leash than that, but
He sucks.
I
Get him
do
out of
like-
there.
I do like the Lions to cover -3.
What do we got next?
We have you want to talk about just garbage ass game?
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta at Arizona. The only person that will be watching this is Jake.
All right. So this game's kind of interesting though because Kyler Murray's coming back, right? And where is it? Is it at it? Did you say
It's in Arizona?
In Arizona.
Atlanta's favored -2.
New COD just came out.
So I'm gonna take the
That's not good.
I'm gonna take the Cards, and I really don't think the Cardinals are that bad, to be honest. Like when they had Josh Dobbs playing quarterback at the beginning of the year, they gave some people some problems. Do we remember that game against the Cowboys?
Is Buda Baker going to be playing?
They destroyed the Cowboys. So I'm gonna
That
go.
poor guy.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray comes back. I don't think he has a great game, but I think he plays well enough, and he shows people or he reminds people how dynamic of a player that he is, even if he can't see over the offensive line. And
Love it.
They cover against the Falcons this week, who just the Falcons are – talk about a team that doesn't know what their identity is. That's the definition right there.
Bijan Robinson.
No.
He'll have 2 carries and 1 target in this game.
Right.
They're keeping him fresh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
For
I
what?
mean, it's who's the starting quarterback in Atlanta this week? Is it going to be Heineke? What are we looking at?
I think they've officially made the transition over to Heineke. I think that they're riding with him. That's totally
Heineke's still rocking the
guessing.
headband. Or no headband? Do we know? Have we seen him? Shots of Heineke.
I haven't
He's
seen
got to
it
be.
yet.
That's his look. So
I don't know. He could have reinvented himself after once again becoming the backup, but I feel like, yeah, I mean, definitely hard to bet on Murray in Arizona. I'm gonna go with the under for 1. I think Atlanta and Arizona both have good defenses, and for 2, gosh, sure, take Atlanta. Why not? Why not? I don't like this pick, but I want to fade Jesse, and it's kind of fun. So I'm
I
betting
don't
Atlanta.
know much about either of these teams. Let's be honest.
I love that.
I
I love that.
like Bijan. I like
that
his
when you
game.
say that you're being honest with somebody, it makes them inclined to believe that you're dishonest otherwise.
Well, I don't care. So
Okay.
I think it's. I want to believe that I don't think that Kyler Murray is going to do great this week. I think he is a great player, but I don't think he's going to do well. Having said that, I think Arizona pulls this one off.
Okay. Tom likes Arizona. I hate both of these teams. I really don't like Kyler Murray. I think he's stuck up, entitled type guy. It's like he thinks he's won 6 Super Bowls already, and he hasn't done anything. So with that being said, I'm going to take Arizona to cover plus 2.5. I absolutely hate the Falcons. They're just such a unreliable team. Since the game that Bijan was ghosted, who I also have in fantasy this year.
he had an illness.
No illness. He had, it was probably like a Chipotle the night before type situation.
Gas bubbles.
And yeah,
Wow.
he had the itis, but it was I can't with the Falcons. So I'm taking Arizona plus 2. Next game. On to the next one here. This might be I admittedly follow the lines pretty closely. So I think this might be the biggest spread of the year so far. New York Giants at Dallas. Dallas favored minus 17. Huge spread.
I'll take the Giants on that spread. I think it's still a divisional game. I don't think the Giants defense is that bad. I understand Dak and the Cowboys offense is playing really, really well, but these divisional games, they get personal, and both teams really come to play. And I think the Giants come to play. Saquon comes to play. Hopefully Tommy DeVito has gotten – is he not playing? Who's the quarterback?
They might as well play without him.
Tommy DeVito hopefully has gotten enough reps with the first team at this point that he can actually throw the ball maybe 15 times, maybe 20. And it stays under that spread, but obviously the Cowboys win. Giants still end up covering that spread somehow.
Wardell.
I need to get the last 2 picks for Atlanta, Arizona.
Tom and Luke both took the cards.
Yes. The cowards. You guys are cowards. Okay. Yeah, Dallas, dude. 17. That's absurd. I mean, Vegas is not in the business of losing money. If they're going to give them 17 points, that's begging you to bet the Giants. And I'm not a chump like some people. So take Dallas, them boys.
And to cover the spread, right?
I'm pretty sure Wargo's taking the opposite of my pick every time.
So they're gonna beat him by more than 17.
Was that Savannah? Does she want to have?
I know. It shocked me. It scared me a second.
He's all out of whack right now.
I just peed. Get over it.
So you're saying they're going to win by 17, more than 17?
18, maybe even 20.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with Jesse here. I don't think it's going to be by that much. Divisional games, they're hard-nosed games. So I'm going to go Cowboys. I think they're playing really well right now, even though it is the Cowboys.
Wait,
You
you
know
said
what?
you're going to go with Jesse?
I did just remember the first game between the Giants and the Cowboys earlier this year.
It won't
You're
be
locked
that.
in on the Giants, though. I already wrote it down.
I am. I'm still gonna go with the Giants because they're gonna be upset. They're gonna be upset about that first game, and they're not gonna let it happen again. So I don't know. Tommy DeVito maybe has a big game. I don't know.
So
But
Tommy DeVito, Syracuse, and Illinois alumni. I watched a lot of Illinois games last year, and I just remember thinking to myself, Tommy DeVito, if this guy somehow makes it in the NFL, he's going to be the most trash ass quarterback ever. And seemed like a good, like, competitive kid when he was at the University of Illinois. I just don't think he's cut out for the NFL. Like it doesn't seem like it's going very well. Useful exercise that Mariah taught me is just create a score in your head. And does that seem wild? So I'm going to throw this one out to the group here. 35-10. Do you think that's outside of the realm of possibilities for this game? That's a 25-point spread. 35-10. Like that seems about right for this.
It's
so
not.
I will take Dallas to cover as well. I think New York has some guys.
Dallas to cover is a no?
No, Dallas. I'm taking Dallas.
Oh, sorry. I thought you just went through that whole thing and then you're
Let's
like,
go, Tom.
Yeah, baby, we got it.
No, I'm taking Dallas. I think. Okay. I just think you got to have.
You said 35-10 is your pick. That's all right. Crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good game.
Next game is Washington at Seattle. Seattle's favored -6.
Wait, I spaced on Tom's pick. You got Dallas as well.
Dallas, and they don't cover the spread. Like it's gonna be less than 7.
Oh, he's got New York.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
What's the next one, Luke? Sorry.
Washington at Seattle. And Seattle's favored -6.
Oh, down.
Washington got their butts, or Seattle got their butts kicked last week by Baltimore, right?
Yes, they got smoked.
I think the Washington Commanders just traded away their two best front seven players. They're obviously in rebuild mode. Seattle is obvious, they're going to want to get right after that last game and prove to people that that's not who they are. Granted, Baltimore is a great team this year. They're definitely better than the Seahawks. They're not that much better. So I think Seattle covers that. And I think, Seattle covers.
Yeah, Seattle by 1 million. Kenneth Walker for 280 yards on the ground. Geno Dimes throwing for 490. Seattle all the way. All the way.
That's like 700 yards of total offense.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. Hopefully you have them on your fantasy team.
I'm going to go Seattle as well.
Your credibility just got destroyed.
I'm talking.
What credibility?
Sorry. Wargo's throwing outlandish words out.
Justin Fields for over 4,000.
Seattle's going to cover this. Pete Carroll's going to have these guys ready to go, the defense. And I think Geno's going to throw 2 TDs to Lockett.
Whoa.
I will also take Seattle. Next game is New York Jets at Las Vegas Raiders. Jets are favored -1 in this one.
It's in LA, or it's in Las Vegas.
It's in Vegas, yeah.
I am gonna go with the Raiders on this one, and I really like the Jets defense. I really don't like Zach Wilson. I've given him every chance this year to play well. I've got Garrett Wilson. I was brokenhearted when Aaron Rodgers got hurt week 1 because I took Garrett Wilson with like my second pick. And it's when Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, it's not just if you drafted Aaron Rodgers, your stock went down. No, Garrett Wilson, obviously.
Oh wait, but if you did draft Aaron Rodgers, then
Yeah.
your stock would also be down though.
A-Rod's and the boys.
So it's not to say that that's
But-
not beside the point.
Correct.
Okay.
And did we all see the bottle of tequila that was spilled on the sideline at the game?
Was that on purpose? What was that?
Did he spill it on purpose? Dude, it was a freaking beaker. It was a scientific beaker, like somebody brewed that shit.
Probably got the dolphin stuff in it.
I wanna try it.
I think it's got little baby's Achilles heels in it, and he's drinking it.
Anyways,
Themselves?
I think the Raiders obviously have had new life breathed into them with this Antonio Pierce coaching change. They love this guy. They want to play for him. It's in Las Vegas. The Jets offense can't get anything going. Vegas covers the spread on this one.
Okay. That's absurd. I checked mine as soon as it came across. New York Jets they're better than people are assuming them to be. The Las Vegas Raiders are riding a high from firing coach. I struggle to see the Raiders continue to put it together. I think they're going to be in contention for a high draft pick next year. Jets on the road.
Yeah. I did not like what I saw.
Jets not on the Jets? Unbelievable.
I did not like what I saw when the Raiders played the Bears. I think, they looked not great. So, and I don't like Russell or Zach Wilson either.
Or Russell Wilson.
Yeah, or Russell.
Next game.
I don't like Russell Wilson.
Next game.
But I think the Jets win. They need to run the ball more as well.
Run the damn ball.
The Jets win, but do they?
Yeah, do they cover? Wait, no, they haven't.
Yeah, Jets win. And so they what's the cover? 1?
It's 1 point.
Yeah.
So
They have
as
to
long
win
as they
by
don't
2.
tie.
Yeah.
But the Jets
Win
have
by
to win. So
10, but
yeah, got it.
I'll take the Raiders. The Jets, they suck. Their defense
Luke
is
makes it so
incredible.
obvious what games that he's looking forward to. So it's just like that. God, man.
Hey, I just want to throw this out there
about it.
Iowa just covered that 13.5.
I saw.
Themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if someone could just score one more touchdown and extra point, that would be fantastic for me.
They'll probably go for 2 and miss it.
Last game of the week is the Broncos at Buffalo, and Buffalo is favored -7.5.
You picked the Raiders, correct, Luke?
Yes.
Okay.
Taking the Raiders.
All right, we're good.
I am going to go with the Broncos to cover on this spread. Even though it's in Buffalo, the Broncos are starting to feel like they're figuring themselves out. And the Buffalo Bills are like the exact opposite. They can't figure out who they are. Josh Allen keeps turning the ball over. He's a turnover machine. Russell Wilson has not been doing that. Broncos defense has been playing better. I think the Broncos show up in Buffalo. They definitely cover. Did you say 7.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they win the game, but I think they play well enough to keep it close to the end and cover the spread there.
To continue to fade Jesse, I think Buffalo kills Denver. This is Josh Allen good game, because people like Jesse with small, stupid brains think Josh Allen might not be good.
Josh Allen bad.
No.
Even though
Stephon Diggs, 400 yards.
He's my doppelganger, right, guys?
he is.
On Diggs.
Huh? Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so Jesse and I are been agreeing tonight for some reason. I feel like every time the Broncos play, it's like they're going to get killed. They're going to get killed. And lately, they haven't. They've been losing, but they haven't got killed, right? I mean, It's just they're running the ball, and Russell Wilson is doing okay this year. Everybody's hating on him. So I'm gonna have a hot take here. I'm gonna go Broncos winning the game, baby.
Oh,
Broncos winning the game.
Broncos on the money line.
I don't like what the
Write
Bills
that one
are
down.
doing. Huh? I don't like what the Bills are doing.
What was the whole lead-in with? I've been agreeing with Jesse a lot tonight.
Well, he said that the Broncos weren't as gonna, they're doing. Shut up, just Broncos.
Just Broncos. I'm with Tom. Just Broncos. I think Josh Allen, the more he struggles, he is just like, he has the worst body language I've ever seen. He, in his press conferences after these games where he turns the ball over 4 times, he's like so pissy and down on himself, and I don't like it. He needs to just like
get back to winning.
I think he's incredible, and I think there's a world where Buffalo could win this game by like 3 touchdowns. But I think that like the Sean Payton aspect of the Broncos is starting to kind of come to light. Like they are becoming, they got rid of some guys on their defensive line that were just like the Randy Gregory's, the literal Randy Gregory's of the world that are just like, cancer in the locker room. And it's just like, hey, can't get on the same page, get the hell out. So
Chase Claypool.
Iowa just scored a touchdown.
They'll kick an extra point.
So yeah, no, I don't like I think the Bills go with Josh Allen, and I think right now he's just like not in the right headspace. And I think 7.5, that's kind of a big line. So I think with the Broncos they've won 2 in a row, one against the Chiefs. They hadn't beaten the Chiefs since Patrick Mahomes had gotten there. So I'll take the Broncos in this one. Yeah. And that's this week's slate. It took us like basically an hour to get through it. That's not that bad.
Try to keep that more concise in the future, but we'll also probably do this separately in the future.
Yeah.
How do we see? Is anybody watching us right now? How do you see that?
No, we're recording. We're not streaming.
Yeah. But yeah,
Did we publish this one? No, fuck it. Actually, we should probably do like a wrap up and shit before we just start chit chatting.
Final thoughts type situation.
Yeah. Final thoughts. All right. News and
note. Okay, everybody go around. Pick a head coach to get fired this week.
Nobody's getting fired.
This is final thoughts. It's not we're not doing a question. Everybody has one thing that they're going to say, and then we're going to say final thoughts. Wargo, you had this on your discussion thing, but I'm going to bring it up because it was weird, right? Eberflus at halftime. And
after the game, he had
we're excited.
In the post-game interview.
We've got some things up our sleeve. And then he and then what did they do? What did they do in the second half that was like a surprise?
They didn't get the chance.
Took Deontay Foreman up the A gap.
Yeah, and then after the game, the reporter asked him like, so yeah, what was up your sleeve? Like, did we see that? And he goes, "What's up your sleeve?"
Twice, dude. Twice. He recycled the joke for somebody later on.
So that's all I'm going to leave you there. Matt Eberflus is a weird dude.
Weirdo. Yeah.
Somebody brought up like him playing linebacker. I don't want anyone to steal this take, and I think it is the most relevant thing going on as it relates to our franchise. The situation going on in Michigan, at the University of Michigan. Jim Harbaugh, I hope that he is reaching a point of frustration with being picked on by the NCAA for doing things that every other team is doing, and he's ready to come back to the NFL because you want to talk about Eberflus and the weirdo that he is. Hey, like it was nice to meet you. Okay, your time's about up here. So we need to finish out this season, bring Harbaugh back home, and that is when an organization can really begin to like change and grow. Like whoever's leading the ship is going to determine in what direction a franchise will go. Like if you got an incredible roster, don't have a guy that can lead the team, you're not going to do much. So I am hoping that this Michigan stuff gets even crazier. Like, I know it started with him buying cheeseburgers for players, which is just asinine, apparently, to the NCAA, like that anybody could fathom him doing so. And now they're like, oh, he's stealing signs. It's like everyone's stealing signs, guys. It's like, what are we doing if we're not watching what the other team is doing? So, again, I hope that his time in Michigan is coming to an end and that he will be joining us in Chicago next year. I think it'd be a great fit. And, like they have started to put together some pieces in Chicago that can be like a good foundation. You still don't have Justin Fields signed to some insane long-term contract. You're going to have him under a rookie deal for another year. Get a real coach in there and see what he can do with a competent front office. Thanks for your time, Eberflus. See you later.
Yeah, I don't love Eberflus as well, but I like that take. Going off the Bears a little bit. This is, I couldn't think of one for the Bears, but NCAA basketball, Illinois 2-0, loving it. And a couple big upsets, Michigan State losing and LSU girls going down. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Nice. Works.
Yeah, you guys kind of stole mine there, I suppose. I can still freestyle on one. I don't know. I just get emotional sometimes watching the Bears, seeing Tyson Bagent do well and him get emotional. I'm going to miss it. Everybody's all hype on Tyson Bagent. I don't think we should be talking about him near as much as people like to. It's kind of a mockery of, how could this guy ever be good? It's like, dude, we get it. He went D2. Now he's here. Like, he's doing what he's supposed to do. So thought he played well for us. I'm going to miss him. Interested to see Justin Fields come back. To see him come back and go on a tear would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And, that being said, I'm going to be adamantly rooting against both Detroit as well as the Vikings this week. Want to see them lose as much as I wanted to see Michigan lose today to fuel that fire. Like you were saying, Luke, that was another take that I was going to have. They didn't shut up about that in the Penn State-Michigan game. They were constantly talking about it, and they won the game for Coach Jim Harbaugh. Like all the post-game interviews and stuff. So yeah, dude, we had some great closing thoughts there. I'm just going to be rooting my little heart out for all of our division opponents to lose this week. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Since he was talking about Tyson, you got to give a plug to Tyler in the YouTube documentary.
Oh, you threw me off of the Tyler. So for anyone that does come across this podcast, which could be the few and the proud, watched the documentary Pulling John. It's about historically the best arm wrestler of all time. His name's John Brusink. And in the documentary, he has two up-and-coming rivals, one of which is a guy from Russia named Alexei Voboda, who would go on to win an Olympic medal, which would be taken away due to steroid usage in the bobsled. And the other up-and-coming arm wrestler is Travis Bagent, who happens to be Tyson Bagent's dad. And this was, I think this documentary came out about 15 years ago. So there's actually a small clip in the documentary. I think you see a little Tyson in there at one point. But I mean, it is the most enthralling documentary I think I've ever seen. It's just the world that these guys live in is not like any normal person's. They're professional arm wrestlers. So definitely check out Pulling John. It's an incredible documentary.
Pulling John, love it. Yeah,
free on YouTube. Free on YouTube.
Tyson,
like
man.
Less than an hour and a half.
Tyson, if you ever want to be on the show,
yeah,
let us know, bro. We got you.
Yeah,
I mean, what a great thing we experienced Tyson Bagent in Chicago. That was
a
awesome.
pretty good arm wrestler. So if your dad wants to arm wrestle him, let me know. I'll get that scheduled.
Right. I mean, if you watch that documentary, I guarantee you'll be like, I don't want to do anything in life but arm wrestle. It's an incredible piece of cinema. So check that out. You get the opportunity to.
All right. All right. Well, that'll do it for us. Yeah, normally we'll break this up into some different episodes, but we'll cap it at roughly exactly 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Signing
Go
off.
Bears.
Bears banter.
Go
Out.
Bears.